been a long-time member of the Ministry of Awesome community. In fact, if you have ever gotten a sticker from Ministry of Awesome, that's come from Will. So shout out to Will for providing those awesome stickers. Everybody loves a good sticker, right? And it also reminds me of the coffee and jam that we had where we did the runway, the t-shirt runway, a little bit more about branding and the importance of startup t-shirts. Like everybody loves a t-shirt too, right? So we're excited to hear him speak about brand identity and share some of those educational learnings with the crowd. So please welcome Will to the stage.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. So basically my topic's a really brief, condensed summary on branding and the sort of things that I rant about on Facebook when I get clients that email me their files that aren't really that well put together. Every day we judge books by the covers. And basically the presentation that you create with your brand or your logo, your business or your personal presentation is basically creating a message. And you need to really think about what that message is sending and whether it's the one you want to send. So some of you may not be business owners. This is primarily geared towards the people that have logos, but if you're not a business owner, hopefully there will be some takeaway for you. My business, core business is selling t-shirts. We do a lot of things, but one of the things we do is we go to shows and sell t-shirts there. This is a stand that I wasn't at this show, but it's done by my company in Australia. And what we do is we make t-shirts on the spot. So this is one stand we did, and this is another one more recently. So if you look at those two pictures, I want you to think about sort of which of these you would sort of want to, be attracted to go and have a look at, or which one you'd want to give money to. If they were side by side, you'd probably sort of be more attracted to the one that's got better branding. And that's a really important focus for you in terms of your website, in terms of your CV, in terms of your store, your shop front, just in terms of thinking about how it's going to come away and whether or not you're inspiring confidence in your brand or your business. So basically brand equals competency. Going to boil down about 6 months worth of graphic design lessons into like 4 slides hopefully. And I've got
Good luck.
I've got about 1 minute left for the segment. So is it appropriate? Not so much, is it appropriate, is it going to make your mother-in-law freak out? But, if you've got along to a mechanic and you see a guy in a suit and he's been like, yeah, I can fix your car, it might not be the right kind of message that you're thinking, oh, this guy probably doesn't know what he's talking about, or he might be more concerned about a suit than actually getting under my car and fixing it. When you're considering appropriateness, you need to think about, am I presenting the right image for what I'm doing? Am I professional when I'm presenting in a casual situation, or am I being too casual when I'm in a professional situation? Basically that. Going on to KISS, or Keep It Simple, Stupid, as everyone knows. This is 2 websites from similar well-known Christchurch attractions. The one on the left is my favourite because it's a bit simple, it's nice and clear, it's not too cluttered. The one on the right is probably better for children because it's more interactive, but think about who's making the decision about where they're going to this attraction. It's probably the parent. One on the left is probably nicer. But when you look at their logos, top one is really busy, bottom one's nice and simple. So there's sort of, a couple of takeaways from that is that you can do some things really well and then other things you can fall back on. So there's a couple of ways in which it's good to take a step back, look at fresh eyes with your brand or your logo, and try and think about, how you can simplify it or how you can really get down to that core message. Last 2 that I really jammed into one slide, and it probably should be more, but I found this awful image and I wanted to share it with you. Thinking about the message that you want to send and thinking about consistency. So this has no consistency, partially because it's advertising a whole bunch of different things, but even if you're advertising a whole different things, you can still look at tying those together. You can still make things the same size, you can still make things the same font or the same color. And that applies to so many things. Think about how the overall picture ties together and think about whether or not it's actually going to tie together or whether or not it just looks like you've dumped stuff onto, onto the floor. Pretty much this image. So, on to my tips and tricks, or Web 3.0 speak, synergistic solutions. So, don't lose your logo. This is really weird advice, but every day I deal with people that have a photocopy of their logo that was designed 3 years ago by someone that's left the company, or designed by their granddaughter, or they have no idea where the file is and all they have is the printed uniform. I once had to redo a logo for printing on business cards from someone's t-shirt that they'd printed 5 years ago. So If you have a logo, keep it. If you pay someone to do a design logo for you, get the design files. If you get your logo designed, keep the digital file so that you can then use it for different types of creation. Very, very important. Brand identity. Most people that aren't in design won't know, but there's a thing called brand identity guideline documents, and almost every company will have one. If you're not sure about branding and where to go or what sort of areas that your logo is missing, if you Google this, you can look at other people's brand identity guidelines and get an idea about what should I be thinking about and how can I use my brand. Hopefully this will give you some questions to ask yourself in terms of things that you haven't thought about and ways that you can better present yourself online. Things like what colors to use, whether or not you have a simplified version for print versus a complicated version for web. Basic stuff like that. And I've got 75 seconds, so email like a pro. I really hate seeing businesses and professionals using free hosting sites. It looks really unprofessional. It costs you about $40 a year to have your own domain and your own email. If your business can't afford $40 a year, I'm not sure that you should be in business. If your business can't afford $40 a year and you use a free hosting box, I'm not sure I want to do business with you. That's probably sounding really judgmental, but you get the general idea. This sort of stuff applies to personal usage. It's more of a preference, but I think that's pretty basic for when you're applying for jobs and things like that. Got 10 seconds left, going to move on. These are my emails. They all go to a Gmail because I love the interface of Gmail, but these are the addresses that people see when I give out my email. Nice and simple, very straightforward. People love my email because it's nice and short. And then the last one is stand out. I put a few business cards on the tables around here. This is my business card. Same size as a normal business card, just in a circle. Get lots of compliments on it. Same as my email. People love something that is different. Think about a way that you can stand out with just not being gratuitously weird. That's also my business card. And that's it. Thank you.
Great. Lights are coming on. Heads up. All right. Questions for Will about brand identity.
Cool. Glad to know
Yeah.
how's that good. No? All right. Question over here.
I use the colour blue for branding.
The blue.
Facebook, do, Skype.
Oh, well, there's a whole list of what emotions certain colours evocate. It's probably something that is worthwhile doing research on. Red is sort of more primal and speaks towards sort of appetite. Blue, I think, is calming. There's a whole book about it. Good idea to keep in mind. Finding colours that send the right message, and also finding complementary colours. Don't just choose two colours at random because your mother-in-law likes them. Over here?
So if you know the product anyway,
Yep.
what difference does it make if you recognise the logo?
Well, you want your logo, you want your product to stand out from any other product. I assume you're not competing in a space where you don't have any competitors. If you have a product that's memorable, if you have a logo that's memorable, then people are going to recognise your brand name. It's going to make it easy for people to Google you. I always hear on the radio, advertisements like, Debtworks, and it's WOKZ or something like that. It's not memorable. It's not going to be easy for someone to Google. If you create a nice, solid, powerful brand identity, it makes it really easy to get that business and get people thinking about you and talking about you and finding you from word of mouth. That's why my email address is v@v5.nz. Simple. Any other questions?
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep. Andy.
Oh, yeah.
Some people are saying that brand identity isn't as important anymore, and it's more about telling your own story. Do you think it's
I think it's the same thing. It's just, Web 3.0 speak, really. Your brand identity should, in theory, tell who you are, which is the same thing as telling a story. Also, unrelated to your question, but I'm going to use it anyway. If you are wanting to sort of get yourself a better email, if you're using a free hosting provider and you want to find out about the different options, speak to me. I'm happy to give free advice. I don't even care if you buy anything off me. I just really hate businesses using, at Gmail and at Hotmail addresses. It's very saddening. Every time.
It hurts.
Every time.
All right. Thanks, Will.
Thank you.